Hi friends, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Ashish here, and today I'll be covering a Sudoku variant called Biggest Neighbour Sudoku. So this Sudoku is constructed by Richard Stock for his SVS series, Sudoku variant series. So I really thank the author for giving me an opportunity to cover a video on our channel. So the moment I saw this Sudoku, I really was interested in covering a video on this one because it's a clueless Sudoku. There are no clues except the arrows you can see here. There are no more clues given and no digits given, I mean to say, and it really seems to be an interesting one, right? So before going to the Sudoku, I would highly recommend you to please subscribe to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles if you haven't done so. It will really motivate us to cover videos on daily basis, and if at all you have a request for any Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre, do let us know in the comment below and we'll surely make a video on it, right? And now coming to this Sudoku, so let us see what are the rules of this Sudoku. Classic Sudoku rules apply, so which means numbers in each row, each column, and 3 into 3 box will have digits from 1 to 9 without repetition. And apart from that, so every cell has an arrow indicator, right? Point, and not every cell, some of the cells here have an arrow pointing towards one of the 4 orthogonal directions, right? So it means that it is pointing to one of the biggest digit in one of these 4 orthogonal directions. So out of these 4 digits, out of these 4 digits, this digit would have to be the highest. So for this arrow, out of these 4 digits, this digit would have to be the highest or the biggest one. So the cell in which the arrow is placed doesn't affect anything. There's nothing giving us any clue there, but it only gives out of the 4 orthogonal adjacent cells. And very simple rules. So with that we'll start solving this Sudoku. Okay, I don't know how to start this Sudoku except that out of the 4 orthogonal cells, 9 will always come in one of the cells that is pointed by an arrow. Not sure what else we can use here. So which means that 9 cannot be in any of these cells. 9 cannot be here. So 9 can be in one of these 4 cells. That doesn't give us much here. Same way, 9 cannot be here, here or here. 9 cannot be here. No, nothing much. Okay, wait. Oh, that's a really good start here. That's a really an excellent start. Very, that's one of the obvious and very good start actually, because very difficult to see out of so many arrows here. I can see that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, that is an actual start, guys. So if you see here, what is the minimum digit possible here out of these 4 cells? You can have minimum is 4, right? I'll just write that in a smaller way, I mean to say in the smaller digit, right? So now what is the minimum digit possible here for this arrow? It can be 5. What is the minimum digit possible for this arrow? It can be 6 here. For this arrow it has to be 7. For this arrow it has to be 8. And for this arrow it has to be 9. Right? So which means, so for this arrow the minimum digit possible is after 4 it would have to be 5. For this arrow after 5 it would have to be 6. For this arrow after 6 it would have to be 7. And for this 8 and for this 9. So we got the 9 as the minimum digit possible for this arrow. So which means that has to be the digit. You cannot have, so that is the minimum digit, right? The next digit after the minimum digit would have to be 10, which is not possible in a 9 by 9 Sudoku, right? So which means that all these digits would have to be the original digit that we have written here. So this would have to be the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. That is excellent. I'll use the surface mode here. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I would need a surface mode as well, but I think so I would need now. So yeah, so which means these 3 digits would have to be 1, 2 and 3 for this arrow, because that's the maximum digit here. For these it would have to be 1, 2 and 3 again. Okay, which means this arrow cannot point to the 1. 1 cannot be the maximum digit for any arrow, right? And same with this arrow cannot have a 1 here pointing. So this is a 1 here, that removes 1 from this cell. Now this cell can only be a 2 or a 3, and of course both of these cannot be 3, because then you need to have arrows pointing in both the directions, right? So which means both of these cannot be 2 as well. So one would have to be 2, another would have to be 3. So this is a 3 and this is a 2, because it is pointing to the maximum digit here. This cannot be 3. Of course, now this cannot be a 1 because no. It can still be 4, I am sorry. This can still be a 4 and it would have to be a 4, I am sorry. Oh, that was a lucky save here. We could have found that easily, because this arrow is pointing towards this direction and it cannot be 1 and a 2, because at least you will have a 1 and 2 here in these two cells. So this would have to be the maximum digit. It can only be 4. This would have to be 1 3, 1 2 3 and 1 3, right? For these for this arrow, these 3 cells would have to be 1 2 or a 3 here, and you got a 1 3 pair here already. This cell, okay, so I think so what we have done is, this arrow is done, these 2 arrows are done, this arrow is also done because you already marked the pencil marks here. This arrow is done, this arrow is done, this arrow is also done because you cannot have an 8 here. So the minimum possible value you can have is 7. We won't write a 7 here, right? So this arrow is also done, and you can only have 2 3 5. You cannot have a 6 here. You cannot have a 6 here, because 6 is already pointed by this arrow towards the maximum digit. This cell can only be 1 3 and a 4. It cannot be 7 as well. Okay, and now this cell cannot be a 9. Okay, so where can okay, let me see that. This arrow is also done because you cannot have a 9 here, and this arrow is also done because we won't write a 9 here. But let us remove that for now. We might get confused here, so let us remove that here now, and let us go with the Sudoku. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Let us see where can we have a 9 in this box, because it seems to be quite obvious for to me. 9 cannot be here. 9 cannot be any of the orthogonal cells not pointed by an arrow. So 9 can never be any cell orthogonal to a arrow not pointed by the arrow, right? So you cannot have a 9 here as well. 9 can be in any of these 3 cells, right? 9 cannot be here. 9 cannot be here. No, 9 cannot be in any of these 3 cells. Okay, you can still have a 9 somewhere. Okay, I can see that 1 and a 9 in box 2 is placed in only these 2 cells. So which means this is a 3, this is a 1. That removes a 3 from this cell. So the minimum possible value here would have to be 3, 4 and 5. This would have to be 6 minimum. So 6, 7, 8 and 9. And of course it is not pointed by an arrow, so this cannot be a 9. And if this is an 8, this would have to be a 9, which is also not possible because you have a 1 9 pair here. So this cannot be an 8, right? This cannot be an 8. It has to be 6, 7. So this cannot only be 7 or an 8. So if this is a 6, this can still be 7 or an 8. And if this is a 7, this would have to be an 8. Nice, easy one. Okay, 9 cannot be in any of these cells. 9 cannot be here, 9 cannot be here, 9 cannot be here. So 9 would have to be in one of these 3 cells, which means 9 cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be here, can be in any of these 2 cells, right? So I use the corner pencil marks here for 9. Okay, where can a 9 be in this box now? Cannot be in any of these 3 cells, cannot be here, can be in these 3 cells. Even 8 would have to be in these 3 cells. So 8 and 9 would have to be here, right? So this is 2, 3 and 8. 8. So 2 and 3 is gone from it. This would have to be 5. These two digits are 6 and 7. Okay. Nine cannot be here. 9 cannot be here. Oh, cannot be here as well. Because, yeah, of course, that is awesome. 9 cannot be here in these 3 cells. 9 cannot be here because not pointed by an arrow. 9 cannot be here because not pointed by this arrow, and 9 cannot be here not pointed by this arrow. 9 would have to be in one of these 3 cells, and it cannot be here as well because not pointed by the arrow. And not even here as well because not pointed by the arrow. 9 would have to be here. That gives you a 9 here, here, here and here. Wow, that was awesome. That was actually an awesome logic. Okay, so that means we get a 9 in one of these 2 cells. 9 cannot be here because not pointed by this arrow, so this would have to be 9. That gives you 9 in one of these 2 cells. Okay, that's done. So we have done all the 9s here, and I think so this arrow is also fulfilled now. It won't be used because none of these 3 cells can have a 9, and this is the maximum digit it is pointing, right? Okay, now maybe let us go with 8. I think so 8 should be the one we should go for. Let us try an 8 now. Where can 8 be? So 8 can be in one of these 2 cells. So 8 cannot be in any of these 3 cells. 8 would have to be in one of these 2 cells. Okay, right? Which means 8 cannot be here. 8 cannot be here. Wow. So 8 cannot be in any of these 6 cells for the classic rule. Right? 8 cannot be here because you will have 2 arrows. 8 cannot be here and 8 would have to be here. That means 8 would have to be in one of these 3 cells, right? 8 can be here because it is pointed by the arrow. 8 can be here because again pointed by the arrow 9. If 8 is here, this would have to be 9. So this cannot be an 8. Okay. Eight cannot be in any of these 3 cells. 8 cannot be here because then you cannot have a 9 here. No, it can be anywhere, right? 8 is possible here. Oh, if you see column 8, where can 8 be in column 8? That's a really good coincidence here. 8 cannot be here. 8 cannot be in any of these 2 cells because we have already marked 8 in these 2 cells, right? In this, yeah, 8 cannot be in these 2 cells because of the arrow here. 8 cannot be here because you will have to have 9 here. 8 cannot be here because you will have to have 9 here. So the only possible place for 8 is this cell. That gives you an 8 here. That gives you 8 either here, here or here, right? And of course 8 is possible here, 8 is possible here as well, and 8 is possible here as well. Okay. What else are we missing here? 1 would have to be in one of these 2 cells. 2 would have to be in one of these 3 cells. Okay, let us mark here what are these numbers here, because I see something 9 will not be in any of these 2 cells. Okay, right? So 9 is already here. Then what are the numbers here? 5, 6, 7 and 8. Right? 5 cannot be in any of these 2 cells. 6 also cannot be in any of these 2 cells. 7 and 8 cannot be in any of these two cells, right? Okay. So at least you can have this cell cannot be 1. Oh, you have a 3 here, which means that would be 2 here, and 2 is removed from this cells, right? Sorry. So you have a 3 here. You cannot have an 8 here actually, because that will have to give you a 9 here. So which means, where can 8 be in column 5 now? Right? So you have a 8 in these two cells, 8 in these two cells, which means you have an x wing of 8, so this would have to be an 8 now. And which means, what is the minimum digit possible here? It cannot be 1, it cannot be 2, it cannot be 3, it would have to be 4. Which means this cell would have to be a 5 only, because 9, 8, 7 and a 6 is not possible. So this cell would have to be a 5. This cell is the minimum cell, that is a 4 here. And which means now 5 would have to be here in this box. These two cells are 6 and 7 in any order. Now this cell would have to be lesser than 4 and 5, which is 1, 2 and 3. It cannot be a 1 because that is pointed by an arrow. Cannot be 2 as well, because you will have at least 1 and 2 here. So this would have to be a 3. This is 1 and a 2. Wow. I really love this. I really love this logic. That is an excellent piece of logic here. And which means these 3 cells are 1, 2 and 8. And you have 1, 2, 8 triplet here in this column. Which means this is 3 and this is 8. That gives you, okay, 8 was not possible here. So that gives you an 8 here, and that removes 8 from this cell. Right? So you have 1, 2 pair here. This cannot be a 2, this cannot be a 1. So 1 would have to be here. That gives you 2, 1, 2, 1. That removes 1 from this cell. That gives you a 1 here. And a 2 here. That is awesome. Okay, so this cell would have to be a 2 in this box. That gives you 2 in one of these two cells and 2 in one of these two cells. So of course it cannot be pointing a 2 as the maximum digit here. So this cell is a 2 now, that gives you a 2 here. Okay, so 4, 6 and 7. So this is 4. These two cells are 6, 7 in any order, right? We are nearly close to solving this Sudoku. That is really an excellent construction, guys. No doubt at all. So this cell can only be 4, 5, 4 is not possible. 5, 6 and 7. Three, 5, 6 and 7. So if this is 3, this would have to be minimum 4, not possible. 5 is not possible. 6, 7 and 8. Okay. Seems a really excellent one. This cell can be a 1, okay, still possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 3, 4, 6. Here also 1, 3, 4, 6. 1, 3, 4 and 6. 6, 7, 4 and 5. 4, 6 and 7. 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, 7 is not possible in these two cells. Of course, because this cell wouldn't have anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 4 is not possible. 3, 5 and 6. Come on, all the arrows are done, I think. But 5 would have to be in one of these two cells, right? 5 cannot be here. 5 cannot be in these two. 5 would have to be in one of these two cells. which means this cell would have to be a 5. This is not a 5, so you get a 4 6 pair here. That gives you 7 and a 5 here. That 7 gives you a 6 here. That removes a 6 from this cell. This 5 is removed from this cell, so there is only one place for 5 here. 3 6 and 7, right? 3 6 7 and 4. Okay, so 4 and 6 should give you a 7 here and an 8 here, and 3 and 5 in these two cells. So this is a 3, this is a 5. That 3 removes from 3 from this cell. 1 6 4 and 7. So 4, you get a 4 3 4 pair here. So this would have to be a 7. That gives you a 6, a 7, a 4 here, a 1 here, a 6 here. This should be done, yaar. Come on, guys. That is actually possible. So this cell would have to be 4, 3 and 6 in any order. 4 cannot be here, so 4 would have to be here. 6 and 7 in any order. So these two cells are 3 and 4 in any order. So this is also 6 and 7. So you already have a 6 here. You already have a 7 here. So which means this would have to be 3, 7, 8, 9, 5 and 5 and a 6 here. That is 1, 9, 1, 3, 4 and 7. So this is 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 6, and congratulations. Wow, that was an awesome Sudoku, guys. Excellent. One of my favorite Sudokus, I would say. Such an excellent construction this was, and at every point of time there was pure logic used, and that is why I love Richard Stock's Sudoku. His Sudokus are never guessy. I would say never. Not even 1% guessy, because the way he constructs Sudoku is, he would really see what an intended solve path could be, what a pure logic could be, and that is why I love his Sudokus. So if at all you are really looking forward to Richard Stock's Sudokus, I would highly recommend you to check LMD website. You have excellent tons of Sudokus by him, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe if you want us to solve any other Sudoku variant or a puzzle genre. Let us know in the comment below, and we'll surely make a video on it. So thank you.